Hello, I just want to talk about are you a mom, dad, family member, and also a business owner and trying to move to CEO? And I'm going to tell a personal story that really reflected and got my attention. I was at a conference and there was a video they showed about how this person was always choosing work over their family. And that video literally brought tears to my eyes because I realized I was the person in that video. And that video was so powerful to me that I needed to change things. I needed to be more present because what was happening is I had, as I've talked in a previous video, is I wanted to work for my backpack, which meant I could work anywhere. But what also that meant is I wasn't present. And I can self confess that I feel like I was not present in my kids' lives growing up. And now they are 19 and 23. And I look back and I miss so much time trying to transition my business. And yes, I went to all their activities, but I literally sometimes I heard wah, 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 wah when they were talking. And that's not being present. So I want to tell you about how to transition your firm to where you don't have to choose. And that's by not being the bottleneck of your business and not being an accounting emergency. And what I mean is many of my clients would call when I was on vacation. I would take their call and my kids are literally waiting in their bathing suit to go to the beach while I talk to this client. And it wasn't truly an emergency. It was the client made it an emergency. They forgot to do something, which then transitioned to my emergency. I had to learn how to put boundaries in and not take that time for granted with my children because as mom and dad, we want to be there for our kids and we want to be present with our kids. But when you're a business owner, a lot of times it doesn't happen. We struggle with what are the boundaries and what is an emergency and what's not. And I've been on a trip lately and I had a client call me and they messaged me and they're like, hey, can you call me? It's an emergency. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what emergency could he possibly have? Because we don't run payroll for him. We don't do what all we do for him. There could be no emergency, absolutely none. So I waited until we got to a point where I really could call him, and it was not an emergency at all. So you need to think about what it is that you do for the client if it could actually be an emergency. And I have had some where they were payroll emergencies where somebody didn't get paid because of a rejected bank account information, but that's a client problem, not necessarily my problem. So you need to really stop and look at what are my priorities and how can I be present more with my family? And by building a business where you're the CEO and you can check out of your business, that's exactly how to do that. So building a business that does not revolve around you 100% of the time, or putting boundaries in for the sole practitioners that just want to be by themselves, that don't want to build a team. You can actually build a business that you love, but you have to put in those boundaries and stick with those boundaries. Because if you tell a client, I'm not answering my phone on the weekends, but then you turn around and do it, what is that saying? You're setting a double standard. If they're texting you at all hours of the night, you need to put boundaries around that and say, hey, these are the days I'm available. Or don't have them text your phone. Have a secure portal where they can send you messages. That way you check them the next day. So these are ways to where you're not even seeing them. So when they're coming to your phone, you're seeing them. So you feel obligated to answer them. And most of the time, the clients will respect that if you have the right client. So you can say, this is my family time. After this, I'm not answering anything. And then stick with it. If you're saying that about your email, then don't respond. So set the boundaries that you want to set. So being a CEO and a family member, a mom or a dad should not have to be a choice. Be present with both. So hopefully this video is helpful and have a fantastic day.